You perform it for everyone else. The strength, the faith, the sense that you're holding up. You know how to do that. You've had practice, but there's something you haven't admitted yet. You perform it for God too, not consciously, not with the intention to deceive. But when you pray, you choose the words carefully, not just to be clear, to sound like someone who still believes. You reach for the language of faith even on the days when faith is the last thing you feel. You say things like, I trust you with this, even when what's actually true is closer to, I don't know if I trust anything right now. You say, I believe you're working, even when what's actually true is, I see no evidence of that, and I'm exhausted from looking. And somewhere in the gap between the words you choose and the truth underneath them, the gap you maintain even in prayer, you've been carrying something you've never named. The exhaustion of being strong for God too, not just for your family, not just for the people who are watching, for Him, as if He also needs the performance, as if the version of you that's falling apart won't be received as readily as the version of you that has it together. And that exhaustion is one of the most specific kinds of tired there is, because there's nowhere left to put it down. Everyone else gets the strong version, and God gets the carefully worded version, and the real version, the one that doesn't have the right language, that isn't sure it believes, that is just bone tired of all of it. That version has never been let out. Here's what the performance costs you. Every prayer that's been edited before it left your mouth is a prayer that arrived somewhere other than where you actually were. And over time, the gap between what you say to God and what's actually true becomes its own kind of distance. Not because God moved, because the version of you showing up to prayer is a curated one. And curated versions can't receive what you actually need. Because what you actually need isn't for God to respond to the strong version. It's for the weak version, the exhausted, doubting, barely hanging on version, to be seen. And you can't be seen if you keep showing up as someone else. So the prayer gets said, the words go out, and something in you remains unreached. Not because God wasn't listening, because you weren't fully there. You sent a representative, not yourself, a representative, and the representative said the right things. And you left the conversation the same way you entered it, still carrying the thing you couldn't figure out how to say, still holding the version of yourself that never made it into the room, still tired in a way that the prayer didn't touch. Because the prayer was designed to sound like faith, and what you needed wasn't to sound like faith. Here's something that gets almost no attention in the way we're taught to pray. The most powerful prayers in Scripture almost never sounded like faith. They sounded like honesty. Job didn't perform strength before God. He argued with Him. He demanded a hearing. He said things in the presence of God that his friends thought were borderline blasphemous. And at the end of the book, God said Job had spoken what was right. Not his friends, who had said all the theologically correct things, who had defended God's honor, who had maintained the proper posture. Job, who had argued and wept and demanded and accused. God said he had spoken what was right, because what Job brought was real. And real, even when it's angry, even when it's confused, even when it sounds nothing like faith, is what God has always asked for. David wrote psalms that accuse God of sleeping, of forgetting, of hiding his face, not the language of someone performing faith, the language of someone too exhausted to maintain the performance. And those prayers are in the canon. God didn't edit them out. He preserved them, as if to say, this is also prayer. This counts. This is what I wanted all along. The performance was never the requirement. The real version was. What if God is less interested in your faith language than in your actual state? Because here's what the performance assumes. It assumes that God responds to the words. That if you say the right things, the trusting things, the believing things, the things that sound like someone who hasn't given up, the response will be better. That the quality of the prayer affects the quality of the reception. But that's not how it works. God doesn't respond to the words you choose. He responds to you, the actual you, the one underneath the words, the one who is tired and confused and not sure anymore and still showing up anyway. That person, the real one, not the representative, is the one he's been waiting to hear from, because he already knows what's underneath the language. He's been watching you edit the prayers. He's seen what you removed before you said it out loud. He knows the distance between the words and what's actually true. And he hasn't been satisfied with the edited version. Not because it wasn't good enough, because it wasn't you. And what he wants, what he has always wanted, is not your best performance of faith. It's your actual presence, however it arrives, however broken and wordless and far from faithful it feels. That version has access, the same access, no less than the strong version, and infinitely more honest. Think about what it would mean to be completely known by someone. Not the version you present, not the edited one, the one that exists at 3 a.m. when the performance is too expensive to maintain, the one that doesn't have the energy to frame things well, the one that can only say, "I don't have the words for this." Most of us have never experienced that with another person, because being fully known requires a level of trust that most relationships can't hold. So we manage, we present, we stay just on the right side of vulnerability, and we assume, without realizing it, that God works the same way, that he also receives the managed version better than the real one. But the whole premise of the gospel is that you're fully known and fully received at the same time. Not known despite the mess, known including it. Not received after you clean up, received as you are, and the performance you've been maintaining in prayer. The careful word choices, the faith language, the strong version. It's not protecting you. It's keeping you from the thing you need most, which is to be completely known, not the version you perform. You, the tired one, the one who has been strong for everyone, including God, and has nothing left. That version is fully received. It has always been fully received. You just never let it show up. The night before the crucifixion, Jesus prayed in Gethsemane, and what he prayed sounded nothing like faith. He fell on his face. He said, "If it is possible, let this cup pass from me." The Son of God, hours before the moment he came for, asking if there was another way. Not a performance of surrender, a real request to be released from what was coming. And then, not my will, but yours. But notice what came first. The honest ask, the real one, the one that admitted what it would cost. And Luke adds a detail that most people overlook. An angel appeared and strengthened him. Not before the honesty. After it, the strengthening came as a response to the real prayer. Not the performed one. Not the version that skipped straight to surrender without acknowledging the cost. The one that said, "This is hard. I don't want this. Is there another way?" And if Jesus, in the most significant moment in human history, didn't perform strength before God, you don't have to either. The angel came to the honest prayer, not the curated one. And what comes to meet you when you stop performing? Maybe exactly what you've been needing. So here's the permission you've been waiting for. You don't have to be strong for God. You don't have to choose words that sound like faith when faith isn't what you're feeling. You don't have to send the representative anymore. You can come as the version of you that has been waiting outside the room. The tired one, the doubting one, the one that doesn't have the language for what's happening inside. And that version will be received, not reluctantly, not as a lesser form of prayer, as exactly what was wanted. Because God is not waiting for your performance to improve. He's been waiting for you to stop performing, to show up without the edited version, to bring the weight that never made it into the carefully worded prayer, to say the thing underneath the faith language. Even if the thing underneath is, "I don't know if I believe this anymore." Even if it's, "I'm exhausted and I have nothing left and I don't know what I'm even asking for." Even if it's just silence. Even if it's just showing up. That's enough. That has always been enough. And the version of you that arrives without the performance is the version he's been most waiting to meet. Not the strong one, the real one. Before you go, I want you to do one thing. Type these words in the comments. "I'm done performing. I'm just here." Not as a declaration of defeat, as a declaration of arrival. Because the most honest prayer you've ever prayed might be the one you haven't said yet. The one without the faith language. The one that just brings what's actually true. And that prayer, unedited, unperformed, completely real, is the one that has always had the most direct route to God.